Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us and welcome to this Tuesday's episode of Shagalinku TV. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and this is welcoming you to the program. So, today we'll be looking at cultivating harvest continuously, which is also known as the CHC, and the role of microbiomes technology on climate smart agriculture. And then we have a wonderful guest um, whose passion is in agriculture and also taking care of the needs of women and making sure they are empowered and all of that. I have my guest here, Ruby Ross, and she'll be joining me on the show today. And we'll be looking at a whole lot of things. Just to say also that Ruby Ross is the founder of CHC AgriTech Africa. She's also a social entrepreneur. She's an advocate on sustainable and responsive growth. Let me quickly bring her in so that at least we can get to meet her more and she'll tell us more about herself. Hi,
Hi,
Ruby.
Ruby.
Hi. How are you, Ambassador
I'm
Emmanuel?
good.
I'm
Nice to
good.
see you again. And this time
Yeah.
virtually after our brief meeting physically last week. How have you been? Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you,
Um,
Ruby. Um,
for a lot of
for
our
a lot
viewers
of
here who may
viewers
not
here who
know,
may not
would like you to
know,
quickly
would
tell
like you
us
to quickly
who
tell us
Ruby
who
is,
Ruby
any
is,
extra thing
any
we need to
extra thing we
know
need to
to let us
know
know.
to let us know.
Great. First and foremost, I'd like to greet our audience as virtually. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are in the world, since we are live streaming. My name is Ruby Ross. I founded CHC Agritech Africa in 2019, starting in Nigeria. And so far, my background is I have worked in the government for 10 years, mostly in community works, public service, and then briefly in the marketing and sales also as a social entrepreneur. And then I was telling Ambassador Emmanuel when I was in my younger days, though I'm still young though, was
Mhm.
working closely with a lot of women and youths on many advocacies, especially on the areas of empowerment, livelihoods. Yes. So it has been a journey for me, very fruitful, and bringing the venture and pioneering the microbiome technology is really a great thing that I think Nigeria should also look into for food production, sustainable agriculture, and responsive farming.
Wow. Thank
Wow.
you very much for that.
Thank you very much for that.
Okay, so
Okay, so
some messages are coming
some
in, and
messages are
this is
coming in.
from
This is from
Joss in Plateau
Josh in
State.
Plateau
It says
State.
it's
It
from
says
Rotcan.
it's
It
from
says
Rotcan. It
nice
says
one.
night one.
Um, and it says good
Um,
afternoon as
and
well.
it says good afternoon as well.
Good afternoon to you,
Okay.
Josh. How is Plateau
Okay.
State? I guess the weather there is fantastic. As for me,
Mhm.
I am currently in FCT and Nigeria. It's very hot in here. That goes to tell you how really climate change is dealing with us. But I look forward visiting Josh soon. I visited Josh sometime in 2016 and I learned that you have great vegetables there, nice livestock farming too, and great weather. It was around this November when I came to visit. So I look forward. Probably we can train women farmers, youth farmers over there on this microbiome tech.
Wow, that's a good
Wow,
one.
that's a good one.
So
So
let me come back. I'm
let me
happy
come
you
back.
talked
I'm happy
about
you talked about
agriculture.
agriculture.
What are some of
What are
the
some
issues
of the
facing
issues
the
facing
agriculture
the agricultural
sector?
sector?
Because a lot of times
Because a
when
lot of
people talk
times
about
when people talk
agriculture, they
about
look at it
agriculture, they
like
look at it
the
like
profession
the
for
profession
older
for
people.
older people.
How can we
How
begin
can
to
we
make it
begin to make
also
it also
fashionable
fashionable
for young
for
people
young
or
people or
for the youth,
for the
young
youth,
women,
young
young
women,
men, and all
young
of
men,
that?
and all of that?
Mm-hmm. I think agriculture is very cool. It's a very cool niche. That's why I sometimes call my colleagues or the women farmers, the young farmers, agriculturists. You don't have to be really go back to like be an agronomist or probably learn about animal science or botany and all those big grammar to become an agriculturist. Well, growing going back, growing with two grandfathers of mine that are farming. One of my grandfathers is he's a sugarcane farmer, and he also farms a lot of mangoes. The sweetest mango in the world is coming from Philippines. Just a little trivia for you. And as the other grandfather of mine is farming mainly cassava and livestock and also vegetables. So growing back then, I have seen how farming has been, difficult, but it's also like I can feel the passion of my granddads having inside them, and they're very fulfilled whenever they, especially during the time of harvest. And I've seen that when I start coming to Nigeria, I saw that there's a need for the farmers to really adapt to certain technology to make it easier for them. So basically, farming is going to be, it's just a mindset, probably because it's more of the older people that are involved. The younger generations are into a lot of other things, so they look at farming as like a job that or a profession that is not so cool at all to venture. In other European countries, in the advanced countries, you can see the coolest of people are the farmers. They are rich, they are young, they own vast lands, they have workers, and the value chain of agriculture is so huge that you don't really have to become literally a farmer. You may be, the one tilling the soil. You can be within the value chain. It's a very large value chain that you can partake a part of it, from primary production until we get it to table, like fork to farm to fork, from farm until the food reaches to your table. So the youth should also consider on into looking what do they like, and it's about servicing. It's about food. You can never go wrong with food because who doesn't need food? And food should not be only produced during rainy season or during a particular season. It has to be done all year round because we eat every day. Yes, so it's gonna be a cool one, especially if you have a community of like-minded people. So it's for them to embrace it and be open-minded on it, and listen also. Try to, know what's in so that you're gonna be on the trend. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
It's
they
like
told
you're
me I'm
reading a lot
They
of
told
having
me
comments
I'm
going there.
having
echo.
echo.
Okay, is it from my side?
No, I think it's from
No, I think it's
mine,
from mine,
but I will
but
try and
I
fix
will
it
try and fix
soon.
it soon.
I think my team
I think
will
my
just
team
try and
will
fix it
just try and
soon.
fix it
But
soon.
we can still
But
go
we
on.
can
So
still
yeah,
go
you,
on.
you
So
talked
yeah,
about
you talked
farming.
about farming.
I'd like you to talk
I'd like
briefly
you to
on
talk
what
briefly
your
on what
organization
your
also
organization
does,
also
what it's
does,
doing for
what
young
it's doing for
people,
young
and if there are
people, and
programs
if there are
coming up
programs coming up
that young people
that
can tap
young people can
into. I
tap
know a lot of
into.
people
I
will be
know a lot of
watching
people will
this
be
show
watching this
even
show
after now.
even after
What's your
now.
organization
What's your
doing, and
organization
how
doing, and
can
how can
to
um,
give support to
give
young
support to young
female farmers?
female farmers?
Okay, that's a great one. Well, CHC Agritech is into the venture of pioneering the microbiome technology. So when we talk of microbiome technology, we talk about the using the beneficial microorganisms in harnessing our yield. That's why we said CHC, cultivating harvest continuously. These microorganisms are very important. They have an important role to perform. We're producing food in as much as agriculture is the major source of our food. It's also the major source while why the earth is becoming warmer and warmer. Climate change. The climate is changing continuously, and we want to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. from the livestock farms, from using a lot of chemicals. These are all affecting everybody. And then it's a chain of reaction that the increase of pest and disease comes in and infest many farms, floodings all around the environment. So we really need to train our farmers to adopt a sustainable type of farming, whereby most of the problems that the farmers encounter in the farm are not seen by the naked eyes. They have missed the fact that there are little farmers that helps them cultivate the soil. I used to share this to young farmers, the women farmers, especially where I started in the southeastern part and the south part of the country. Um, Women farmers there, they are very hardworking, and the thing is that there are so many problems that we need to address. But I have found out that majority of the farmers, they lack the access of inputs that can even take care of the environment. So CHC Agritech is trying to set the what's this solve that gap, that there is a lot of things to understand, that the microbiome, these microorganisms, they um they keep on protecting the plant, and it's very simple. They make the soil healthy. A healthy soil gives you great harvests. So in the aspect of soil management, there are many dynamics that these microorganisms can do. And if we can take care of the soil, because the earth, the people are expanding, it's populating, industries, rural places becoming urban cities. So as much as we are developing, we also need to maintain the biodiversity in the environment, so that we can provide a healthy ecosystem. Because you can imagine that with the advert use of chemicals, these chemicals are providing a lot of residue from to the soil to the water. It runs off to the waters. It kills our fishes or our aquamarine resources. Then the soil is also affected, so it's not that healthy soil anymore. So what happens is that farmers don't really get the maximum value of the soil, and farmers have no options, no alternatives, but to look into how to just use mostly chemicals and the synthetic fertilizers. So as they keep using it, it provides like dryness in the soil. We need to understand that major component of all these synthetic products, fertilizers, the binding ingredients, are very making the soil hard. And when the soil is hard, you are actually cementing the soil. So the absorbability, or the water moisture, is no longer there. Another thing that we also look into is the aspect of burning our lands. Normally when the farmer harvests his produce, like after probably rice production cycle, the farmer opt to just burn, so that it will be easy for him to clear his land. So burning the land, actually, it's like you are removing the oxygen out from that soil. Without oxygen, definitely we cannot breathe. And those microorganisms, those insects, good insects, the biodiversity in your ecosystem, in your soil, needs to breathe. So it's all a chain of reaction. So if they are not found there, definitely whatever you're growing is not going to grow much the way they used to be. So you keep bombarding fertilizers and all that. I'm not saying we're not using the synthetic fertilizers anymore. What I'm saying is that responsive farming, we have to adopt an organic and semi-synthetic, just a ratio and proportion, probably 50-50, 70-30. Because even if whatever we are fighting for in this world, if we don't have an earth, nothing. Where's humanity gonna be? So that's why we are pushing not just to produce more than enough food, but we're also pushing that be responsible in farming and take care of the environment. Another thing, sorry, before you move to my next question or next comment there, I can see that there are people watching us, um, livestock and poultry farmers suffering so much on mortality issues. Fish farmers, their fishes are just dying. Why is that so? There is a high level of resistance in the ecosystem or in the environment of where they are being farmed. Using a lot of antibiotics, disinfectants that are harmful, chemicals, it builds some level of resistance that most of this bacterial and fungal viral diseases, they thrive so much that when it comes to a certain point, your fishes, your chickens, your livestock cannot anymore contain it. So the farmer ends up going to use a lot of more antibiotics, higher dosage of antibiotics. And where does all these chemicals and antibiotics go? It goes to us because we feed on them. We'll, after slaughtering the chicken without observing withdrawal periods, we feed on them. So we have an unhealthy population. Um, the age or the lifespan is degrading, gradually degrading. So the youths have to act. 50% of the population of Nigeria are between the age of bracket of 15 to 45 years old. So basically the power is vested on them, and proper good information about responsive or climate smart agriculture is very important for the youths to adapt. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
So if you have
So if
questions,
you have questions,
please
please
put it on the
put
screen.
it on the
Our guest
screen.
is here.
Our guest is
Ruby
here.
is
Ruby
attend to your question.
answer to your
I know
question.
there's
I
echo.
know
I've been
there's
trying
echo. I've
to
been
sort
trying
that
to
echo
sort
issue,
that
but
echo
then
issue, but
I don't
then
know. Maybe
I
when
don't
next
know.
we have
Maybe
you on
when
the
next we
show,
have you on the
we
show,
will
we will
find a way of
find a way of
resolving that.
resolving that.
Anyway, so let me
Anyway,
say
so
something to
let me
you,
pick up to you,
Ruby.
Ruby.
What are the things
What are the
I know
things
a lot of
I know
NGOs
a
are
lot of NGOs
trying.
are
There
trying.
are also
There are
NGO
also
organizations
NGO
like yours
organizations like
are
yours
also trying
are
to
also
cushion the
trying to
effect,
push in the effects,
strengthen and deepen
strengthen and deepen
women
women
empowerment and
empowerment and
capacity.
capacity.
But where does the government
Where does
come
the
in all of
government
this?
come in all of this?
Mhm. Okay,
Should it be in
Should it be
policies?
in
Should it be in giving
policies?
small
Should it be in
loans?
giving
Should
small
it be in
loans?
also
Should it be in also
assisting other
assisting
organizations like
other
yours in
organizations like
partnership
yours
so
in
that
partnership so that
when there are more funds,
when there are more
there are
funds,
abilities to take
there
on
are
the
abilities
women
to
and
take
train
on
them?
the women and
What's the
train
role of the
them.
government and
What's
the
the role of
NGO
the
in
government and
synergy?
the NGO in synergy?
Oh, that's fantastic. And I hope that the government would really see this interview, and so that we are very open to, assist and be part of the impact that they want to do, especially in Nigeria. Being an agriculture, we are in a very Nigeria is very potential in agriculture. So there are many ways that government can do. First is they need to adopt certain innovation, and then this innovation, they can come visit and see what the other people, like for example in rice production, mainly Philippines is producing rice, and Nigeria now. Before, rice is only served during occasion, but now it's becoming an everyday thing for most of the youths. They love eating rice, and what I can say is that adopting this innovation is that letting them also understand that they need to come up with some certain workshops. Probably we can start with a group of 50 people, every local government or every value chain, every NGO, every farm community. When you do a demonstration or adopt a workshop there, it can be like very localized, and then the farmer starts adopting it, and we can measure these metrics. How many of them have improved their yield? How many of these farmers have increased the quality of their life? What is the level of production that we have been able to achieve? So government can really come in. It's not always just funding, though funding is a main thing, because you need to move, you need to mobilize. But the intention should be there first, and the passion, the heart to do this should be there first. So in as much as that, we would really like the government to come into play in making this technology also easily available for the local communities, the women in agriculture, the youths in agriculture. So by teaching them, after creating the awareness, it can raise to the next level of adaptation, practicals, and then from there we move towards assessment. And the good news about it is that we're just not producing great amounts of food, but we're also producing quality foods that is highly exportable. You know, most products um, by the farmers are not accepted internationally due to the fact of so much chemicals that is being used, and they're not up to the international standard. So these are the things where government can look into regulation of their products, so that the value of the products of these farmers will be higher, and then in turn it can give them a better income. So I can only give example from my home country in the Philippines. We have a Republic Act on organic farming, and the government really, it started in 2010, and the government really have pushed into like implementing this. So I think Nigeria can do the same thing on that, and pushing this will really aid in food production, quality food production for exports, plus better environment that is healthier for the general populace. Yeah. So we can start with little workshops, and then later create some programs that will make this innovation available for everybody. I think it's just have to just really click, just start something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
So
come back to
let's
climate
come back
change.
to climate change.
Before now, a lot
Before
of
now, a
Nigerians
lot of
or Africans
Nigerians or
just
Africans just
climate change was as a
climate
result
change
of
was as a result
sin,
of sin,
or bad
or
omen
bad
and all of
omen
that.
and all of
And
that.
citizens are
And
not also
citizens are not
taking
also taking
responsibilities for some of the things
responsibilities for
that
some
they are
of the things
doing
that they are
that is
doing
making
that
all
is
of this
making all
happen.
of this
We
happen.
talked about
We talked
fishing,
about
where
fishing,
some
where
areas
some
cannot
areas
fish
cannot
or farm
fish or
anymore.
farm
What
anymore.
what can
What can
individuals begin to
individuals
do,
begin to do,
to take
to take
responsibility of their
responsibility
actions
of their
and
actions
mitigate some
and
of these
mitigate
things,
some
even
of
before
these
they
things,
call for
even before they
government
call for government
intervention?
intervention?
Mm-hmm. You know, as an agroecology person, and I love taking care of the environment, we can start it from our homes. First is we reduce the usage of our chemicals. If we are using this much before, we can reduce and, use this one. And if possible, we can reduce the use of plastics too. Recycle whatever we can recycle. And then we can also turn waste, especially biological waste, into useful things like probably manure for fertilizing our farms naturally. That way, you are reducing the greenhouse, the methane emissions, which warms the world. Imagine if 1,000 of households or 1 million of households are emitting all this methane, all this emissions. It's gonna be having a great impact in having a bad environment. So this attracts pests and diseases too, because when your environment is not so conducive, um I mean to say, there's a lot of emissions, you are going to attract more of the pests and disease. Then so I would suggest that each one of us can just be doing responsive farming. We can adapt practices that are going to lead us to utilize less usage of chemicals like herbicides. Um, practice that one. And if we can't really do that, probably a part of it, just practice it. And then for those that are really into commercial farming, we would recommend them to look into alternative fertilization, which are more what's this organic in nature, natural in nature, so that it doesn't have any adverse effects on humanity. So how would we start on that? It's having the mindset, and again, it's having to have a community, that sharing this community and really pushing for it. When you talk about it and then you share it with others, then the impact that that is making it for you, you know, it's going to be like you're living a simpler, but you're taking care of the environment, so you feel that I'm not guilty, I've thrown this thing, I'm just wasting food or whatever. We have to think that nothing should be wasted, like everything can be recycled, everything can be utilized. Yeah. And I would encourage farmers to do integrated farming, not just monocropping or just one type of crop. You know, we breathe oxygen, we emit carbon dioxide. So the same thing with integrated farming. Your livestock, elements from your livestock can be used for your crops or for your vegetables, and your vegetables can actually provide fodder for your livestock and all. So it's a symbiosis to be able to maintain a healthy ecosystem. So that's it. Reduction of the usage of chemicals, and as much as possible, um, reutilization or waste. That's why the role of the microbiome technology is very important, because microorganisms will speed up the process of decomposition. For instance, if you're a rice farmer now and you're farming rice farmers, if you're here, um, do you realize that after your harvest, when you actually remove the post harvest and put it back in the chain or in the soil and speed up the process of the composition, use microorganisms to speed up the process of the composition, you are actually gaining 2 to 3 bags of fertilizer from that same waste material that you want to burn. You can imagine. So if you are already using 6 or 8 bags of fertilizer, which is very costly now, you can imagine the savings that you're gonna save. 3 bags already about 70,000 or more. Yeah. So these are the things where farmers need to understand that I can actually utilize the resources that I already have. So when you adapt microorganisms that are also fixing nitrogen, they are fixing phosphorus, they are fixing potassium, you don't need as much synthetic fertilizers. You'll be surprised that you won't even need to use pesticides, bactericides, fungicides. And the funny part about it is that most farmers, I would say, when they see anything crawling in their farms or affecting their farms, they don't know how to determine or something is eating their crops. They actually don't know whether it's a good insect or a bad insect. So they just go ahead. They don't know whether it's bacteria causing it, it's fungi causing it. And a fungicide cannot treat a bacterial problem vis-a-vis the bacteria side cannot treat a fungal problem. So it's really I feel for the farmers because they really need to learn this one. And I think we also have to utilize the NGOs, the private organizations, in providing extension work, letting them understand about the importance of taking care of the environment because it's affecting agricultural produce, their harvest. If we don't start taking care of environment now, food sufficiency will never be sufficient, and there will be hunger. There will be, they already forecasted that in 2050, that there will be like hunger problem. So sustainable development goals number 2, um, zero hunger. That's why we're pushing it so much. And then climate smart action, number 13 of the SDG goals, very important. Because if there is no good soil, how can you farm very well? Well, there are already hydroponics and all that, the vertical farming. But still, why don't we utilize the soil, especially in Africa? The biggest landmass or arable land for farming is found here in Africa. It's an untapped gold, you know. So I would suggest that those rice farmers or even other types of farmers, the more most of the diseases that is crawling going to their corn, their maize, their soybeans are actually are eggs that are found in the soil system. So using effective microorganisms, microbiome technology can digest, or what you call this one, can kill those bad bacteria and decompose those eggs before they mature, before they are laid. So when you neutralize and you overwhelm your soil, your environment with good microbes, they are friendly ones. They can't harm the environment. They also live, so they also need to survive. So they have to feed on the all the organic matter found there. So as they feed on these eggs, they destroy them, they can't thrive anymore. The soil or the environment becomes pathogen free. That means infection free. So the seed that you will plant will become more, productive in germinating fast. I used to ask the farmers, I said, why do you put 5 seeds in, in one hill, maybe 5 pieces of seeds of corn? They used to answer me, well, to make sure that one will survive or two will survive. I said, why? Why are you not sure it's not going to survive? All the elements that the seed should survive is already found in the soil. So they said sometimes only two survives out of five. I said, okay, because you're giving a budget for the termites, you're giving food for the ants. So, but then when you have beneficial, healthy microbes in the soil, one is enough. Then you save seeds. You can still plant that to another hectare of land. So there's a lot of savings. Plus, I would also like to reiterate that, these floodings that is happening in Nigeria, the more the government should look into adapting beneficial microorganisms. Why? We found out that this microbe strengthens the root system. And when the root system is so strong that even the water current is pushing them or the winds try to, bend them down, the crops retains or remains so strong, the foundation is so strong that it thrives even after every floodings or every storm that it encounters or it comes. So also, this flooding is the water is just surfacing, it's not going down, it's not being, you know it's not being absorbed by the soil anymore, because there are no microorganisms that holds and locks this water into the soil. So you can remember before, I used to remember my grandfathers, when they farm rice, the foot or half of his leg will really go down the the soil, so it dips down. So but then right now, this one is so hard. When you go there, it doesn't anymore sink. So if the body of the human being doesn't sink anymore, how much more the root system of the plant? So if the root system of the plant cannot penetrate deep down, you can imagine that the plant is only taking the crop system. That's on the aspect of the crop system. But on the aspect of animals too, beneficial microorganisms does a lot of great work. One, it disinfects your farm. It eliminates odor almost immediately. So poultry farmers who are having complaints from neighbors that, hey, why is your farm so odorous? And then you have the fear of taking care of your chickens maybe within your backyard because your neighbor is there trying to sabotage your passion and your business. So with beneficial microorganisms, you can do an odor-free poultry farming, piggery farming, goat farming. Yes. And then it's very possible you can realize that you have larger eggs, better quality of meat, and the most important things, your animals are not dying. You can imagine how much is a day old chick now. And after just 1 week or 2 weeks of spending so much buying the day old chick, feeding it, giving whatever glucose or whatever you're giving them, water, your labor, your effort, putting light on it. Yeah, then after 1 week or 2 weeks, the chickens just die. It's painful. I have seen people who used to have 10,000, hundred thousands of chickens, but they reduce their capacity, not because they cannot produce more, but because they are afraid that a particular pathogen or a bacterial attack or a fungal attack will just come. And the good news about having the friendly microbes in your environment, because they are the habitators or they are the ones living in the environment, or because you allow them to enter your farm, the pathogenic ones, the ones that are the bad ones that causes infection, like E. coli, salmonella, fungal attacks, viral, no matter how much they want to come in to be in that habitat, they cannot anymore because you have overwhelmed your environment with good microbes. So they are your little soldiers that protects your farm. They are alive. Every seconds they multiply. They feed on organic matter, convert them into useful nutrients, and eventually they provide food for your plants. They provide food. They have feed efficiency effects on feeding. So you tend to use lesser amounts or you save costs on feeding them. And that is savings for the farmers. You save cost on feeding, you save cost on using antibiotics because they are healthy. Why would you treat your animals if they are well, if they are healthy? You give antibiotics to sick animals, not to healthy ones. Yeah, reduction of chemicals, yes, and then higher survival rates, okay, reduced mortality, zero complaints from neighbors because of odor. And mind you, that odor is also the one affecting the health of your animals. So there are a lot of things where you can save. Plus, imagine when you're growing your animals with probiotics, that is the beneficial microorganisms, the animals tend to grow faster. So instead of, I've seen farmers raising chickens to 12 weeks just to get 3 kilos or 2 kg. So, but you can achieve that same 2 kg in 4 or 5 weeks with proper feeding, proper water, with very good, healthy probiotics, friendly probiotics. The farmer can achieve that. So if your turnover is faster, your shorter period of time of raising them, the chance of them getting sick in your hands will be very minimal. The chance of them dying before they are sold is very minimal. So farmers can really make their turnover faster. And it puts money in their pocket and provides decent meal for the family. Yeah? So I think Nigeria has a long way, but with the microbiome technology, it's gonna shorten the time of getting there to produce better foods, and take care of our environment. Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So before we
So
wrap
before we
up,
wrap
there's
up,
a
there's
question
a
here from
question
a
here
recent
from a
Danladi.
recent Danladi.
It says,
It
well
says, well
spoken.
spoken.
Can you
Can
organize
you
workshops
organize
and
workshops
life
and life
coaching so we
coaching
can learn
so we can
more?
learn more?
Sure, sure, of course. Well, we have the schedule though. We have some organizations that already scheduled, and there is a live event that is coming up on the 14th of November. That should be a Tuesday, I guess. It's a Tuesday. Mark your calendars. 14th of November. It's gonna happen in the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, and we are going to train about 60, or we're looking at an audience of 60 serious women in agriculture because of the venue that we've been able to secure. But we don't mind if we get up to 100. It's fine. We just try to squeeze ourselves over there. And if there is another avenue for us to share this information to other forum, whether it's physical or it's virtual, we can also do that. All you have to do is to provide or check our schedules with us, and then let us know what is the forum you want to really know. Maybe you want it to be tailor focused to what you're growing. Probably you want to use the role of microbiome technology in the aspect of, let's say, soya beans farming or cocoa farming, depending on what you do. Or you want to adapt it for waste management, for composting, or livestock production. We can create a specific topic for that. And the conversation is sky is the limit. There is a lot of things to learn. It's a very interesting topic, especially if you are really into the agribusiness. I would say not just agriculture, agribusiness. If you're serious with this business, you are missing something if you're not using and harnessing the power of microorganisms in your soil. I would also say that there are ways to to create this, but it may be tedious, and it may be what do you call this one, how would I say, it may not be that convenient, but there are ways that we can, we can make it easier for you. That's why that learning is very important. Mhm. So, and Arisa, Danladi, please, if you are not physically in FCT, you can have a virtual meet, either in Google Meet or via Zoom. All you have to do is to connect with Ambassador to check on our schedule, or maybe in your community, you can have us, do a WhatsApp training over there, maybe a combination of voice note, video call, or if it's a small group, so that you can also train others. I look forward that if you get this training, you also train others. So we are all brothers keepers. So we just have to pay forward what we are learning, right?
That's good.
That's good.
Okay, so as we
Okay,
wrap
so
up
as we
now,
wrap
I,
up
I know
now,
I'll bring you
I know
again,
I'll bring
maybe
you
after
again, maybe
the
after
November
the
training.
November training.
I'll bring you again to
I'll bring
tell
you
us
again to
matters
tell us matters
arising,
arising,
recommendations,
recommendations,
and what came
and
out
what came
from the
out of the
training, the
training,
outcomes
the
rather.
outcomes rather.
So, but as we
So,
wrap up
but as
now,
we
what
wrap
would
up
be your
now, what
final
would be your
word
final word
to everyone,
to
to
everyone,
farmers
farmers
who,
who,
because of lack of
because of lack
storage,
of storage,
their produce is
their produce
also
is also
perishing at a very
perishing at a
alarming
very
rate.
alarming rate.
Another thing the government
Another
has
thing the
really
government
not
has
set
really
up
not set
is
up
storage
is storage
facilities.
facility.
And it's not
And
every
it's
time
not
their
every
produce
time their
gets to the
produce gets
market
to the
and it's
market
all
and it's
sold.
all
So
sold.
what happens
So
to
what
the
happens
farmer
to the farmer
when the
when
produce
the
are not
produce
sold
are not sold
completely? Where
completely?
can they
Where
store?
can they
These are some of the
store? These are some of the
challenges that
challenges
bedevil
that
farmers. But
bedeviled
what is
farmers.
your
But
final
what is
word
the
as we
final
wrap up
word
now?
as we wrap up now?
Mm-hmm. So as for that, for the storage, we can also provide solution for that. Most of this storage, while your produce are getting spoiled because of high mold presence there. So with the microbiome technology neutralizing the mold system, it neutralizes it and keeps the shelf life of your produce. And mind you, when you practice and embrace organic farming, you will realize that the shelf life of your products, especially tomatoes, I've seen a lot of waste tomatoes in that Kaduna area, vegetables in Jaws, yeah. So you can adapt the use of microbiome technology to increase the shelf life of your products. So at least if it provides you a longer shelf life, then, if you really don't have the physical storage, well, we would like the government to provide physical storages for the, like free frozen, what's this, facilities. But if for those rural areas, if they are not available, at least with this, from farming it the organically, the shelf life of the products increases. So I can see a message here. Should I read it, Ambassador?
Yes, please read
Yes,
it.
please read it.
It's coming from Boy Tumelo Marumo. I hope I have said your name correctly. I like how you emphasize the need to increase produce, yes, but also be sustainable and preserve the planet in that process. Yes, very correct. That's what we are pushing. We want to produce more food, quality food that is accepted for high standards, international standards, and also take care of the environment, so that when we farm again, it keeps giving us great produce. Yes. So thumbs up on that. And I hope that your farming community is on it already. It's always nice to be natural. Yes. So, for the last one, I just want to also thank my partners for the event upcoming on the 14th. We have Watson Institute. It is a institute that, through the Western Union Foundation, it is helping us in the social entrepreneurs in pushing in some of the solving of the world's biggest problems, especially on the aspect of sustainability, food sufficiency, and climate action. Also, Do Take Action is also our partner for the climate change, climate smart agriculture. Then we have local partners, of course, Ambassador Shagalinku. Thank you so much for this. Also, I would encourage you to reach us in CHC AgriTech. We are on Instagram. I'm also in LinkedIn. You can drop me a message. Then let's talk. Let's talk how we can sustain your communities. Let's create a project over there, and then let's create a community where our awareness, our mindfulness of taking care of the environment and pushing more for more foods to feed, yeah, is there. Mm-hmm. So, finally, Ambassador Emmanuel, I've dedicated this life work for the African farmers. So I look forward that the African farmers, especially the youths and the women in agriculture, take this thing so seriously that we are going to leave a legacy, and we'd like to transfer this innovation in the African, farming communities.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much,
Ruby.
Ruby.
It's been a pleasure
It's
having
been
you
a
on the
pleasure
show. I
having
hope
you on
we'll
the
have
show.
you
I
soon
hope
as
to have you
again.
soon as again.
And by
And
then we'll be
by
talking
then
about
we'll be
matters
talking about
arising
matters
from
arising
your
from
training.
your training.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
thanks to
so
everyone
thanks
who
to
watched.
everyone
The
who
video is
watched.
still
The video
here.
is still
Everyone can
here.
still
Everyone
watch
can
after
still
the
watch
show.
after the
You
show.
can share the
You can
video
share the
both on
video
YouTube
on
and Facebook.
and
Apologies for
Facebook.
the audio. I don't
Apologies
know
for the
what happened
audio. I don't
today.
know what happened
The
today.
the echo
The
is just
echo is just
there all through.
there all
But no
through.
problem.
But
My
no
name is
problem.
Ambassador
My name
Manu
is
Gabari.
Ambassador
Thank you
Emmanuel
all for
Gabari.
joining
Thank you
us.
all for joining
We'll
us.
see you
We'll
again
see you
soon for the
again
next
soon for the
episode of
next episode of
Shagalingu.
Shagaling.
From all of us,
From all
it's
of
bye
us,
bye from
it's
us.
bye
And
bye
thanks
from
once
us. And
again to
thanks once
Ruby,
again to
Ruby
Ruby,
Ross
Ruby
for being
Ross
our guest
for being
today.
our guest
Catch
today.
you all soon
Talk to you
again.
all soon again.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.